All right, let's call to order the regular board meeting for the Cochise County Board of Supervisors. Today is Tuesday, May 20th. We're meeting in the Supervisors Hearing Room, Melody Lane in Bisbee. Pursuant to ARS 38431.02H, the public will have access to the meeting room 15 minutes prior to the start of the meeting. Any item on this agenda is open for discussion and possible action. We will begin with an invocation from District 2.
Well, actually, Mr.
Dagnino.
Oh,
Mr. One.
oh, there we go. Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Let's pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you, Lord, and acknowledging that you have all authority, Lord, that you are the true authority, Lord. All authority that exists is from you, Lord. Lord, we pray for the Board of Supervisors, each member, that you may grant them wisdom, guidance, in all decisions that are made, Lord. Lord, that everything that is said today will honor you and to glorify your name, Lord. Lord, we ask this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. All right, let's do the pledge.
Please repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. All right, the order or deletion of any item on this agenda is subject to modification at the meeting. The board may also vote to recess into executive session for the purposes of obtaining legal advice from the board's attorney if required, pursuant to ARS 38431.03, subsection A, paragraph 3. Members of the Cochise County Board of Supervisors will attend either in person or via Microsoft Teams. The public may also attend this meeting via Microsoft Teams or the mobile app. The board may permit public comment during the discussion of any item on this agenda. To speak on an agenda item or during the call to the public, please complete and return a request to speak form to the clerk of the board prior to 9 a.m. on the morning of the meeting. I'd like to note that some attachments may be updated after the agenda was published. This means that some presentation materials displayed at the board meeting may differ slightly from the attached version. We will begin with a roll call. District 1, Crosby is here. District 2,
Gomez is here.
and District 3, Antonori is here. All supervisors are present and in person. We'll begin with a call to the public. We have 2 requests to speak forms. The first one is Mr. Eli Dalton Webb. Mr. Webb. You're up, Mr. Webb. Sir, you got 3 minutes.
So I just wanted to complain about the county attorney's office. There was a so David Morgan did another public records lawsuit, and the defendant county had requested sanctions, and I think it's inappropriate that our attorney's office, I mean, I've seen 2 lawsuits so far where there seems to be a trend of calling things frivolous. And I just wanted to complain that I think that's inappropriate. The other thing I wanted to complain about was a few meetings ago, you guys accepted, I think it was like 40 grand from Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative. I don't understand how you guys don't see that as blood money. I mean, these people are forced to pay electric utility rates set by the Corporation Commission. They have a government-imposed monopoly. It might as well have been tax dollars. And you're going to throw it at, well, you guys already did throw it at the superintendent over a campaign. And what were the metrics for results? The other thing I wanted to know is I'd like to learn about the priorities of the supervisors. It's kind of hard to see what's important to some of you guys. And then I have 2 things on the agenda, so I'll wait for my chance to speak on those. So,
All All right. You done? Thank you, Mr. Webb. Appreciate that. All right. Next up will be Allison Morse. Miss Morse, are you present or online? I didn't see. Oh, I think she's online. Miss Morse, are you there?
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you. Go
Okay,
ahead.
great.
You have 3 minutes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Good morning, supervisors, and thank you for this opportunity to speak today. I am Allison Morse, a registered voter from Portal, and I'm speaking on behalf of myself and 26 other residents all across Cochise County who personally contacted me yesterday afternoon and this morning to voice their concern about the Mexican gray wolf issue. On May 8th, you held a work session that focused on a 20-page presentation given by Mr. Pascal Berlioz, the Executive Director of the Eastern Arizona Counties Organization. His PowerPoint presentation clearly advocated for option 1 that proposes eliminating 10 to 15 wolves annually from the U.S. population. Mr. Berlioz is not a trained scientist, nor has he been involved in the release of the Mexican wolves. Yet, he was granted almost an hour and a half to speak, followed by a briefing from the Sheriff's Ranch Patrol and extensive discussion amongst yourselves. The entire meeting lasted 2 hours and 22 minutes, but offered no alternatives to Mr. Berlioz's plan. He completely dismissed the option of employing preventative measures in livestock protection, which has been successful in many areas. I would like to respectfully request that you schedule another work session to hear in-depth expert testimony from others involved in the Mexican wolf issue. These might include facilitators of the reintroduction program, conservation biologists, representatives from the funding sources available to ranchers, and individuals familiar with the success of depredation prevention methods. The exceptionally short 3-minute speeches allowed at last Tuesday's public meeting cannot begin to cover the complexities of this issue. Your constituents are clearly divided, and before drafting any resolution on the matter, you owe it to us and yourselves to consider other perspectives. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. That was the only 2 we had for the call of the public, so we will move on to the next, which will be the consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve consent agenda items 1 through 4, please?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve consent agenda items 1 through 4.
Second?
All right. We have any discussion?
No, sir.
All right. We have a motion on the floor to approve consent agenda items 1 through 4. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right. Motion carries 3-0. The consent agenda is approved. All right. Next, we will move on to public hearings. All right. So I got a call to order public hearing, if I recall. Is that the right? All right. Let's call to order public hearing. All right. Can I get a motion to move item number 5, agenda item number 5?
I motion that we approve item agenda 5. Or 5 or 6?
Just 5. Just mention
Just
what
5.
it is. Just mention
Yeah,
what,
okay, to approve Series 09, parentheses, liquor store, new liquor license application submitted by Kevin Arnold Cramber, 4273 South Highway 92, Sierra Vista, Arizona 85635.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Is Mr. Arnold here?
No, he's not.
He's not here. I don't have anybody requesting to speak on agenda item number 5. Okay. No discussion. I
Here.
guess we have a motion. Laura, I'm sorry.
Chairman Antonori, members of the board, this item's for a new Series 9 liquor store application submitted by Kevin Arnold Crambler for Cactus Liquor Fine Tobacco located in Sierra Vista. The application's been reviewed and recommended for approval by the appropriate departments. Property taxes for the parcel are current. The notice and application were posted as required by state law, and no formal protests were received. The applicant has paid the $100 processing fee, and board staff is recommending. Well,
Oh, okay. Thanks. All right. Well, there's nobody here, so the motion's on the floor. All those in approving Agenda item number 5.
Close the public hearing.
Do I have to close the public hearing?
You can close on this one, and then you'll have to open it for the next agenda item as well.
Okay. All right. All right. So we'll close the public hearing. And now we have the motion on the floor to approve. All those in favor of approving agenda item number 5, the Series 9 liquor license, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. The motion is approved. All right. Next up, I got to go back to public hearing now. All right. Go back into public hearing. We have agenda item number 6, which is, okay, let me get a motion for that.
Okay, I move that we adopt Resolution 25-03, granting a water services franchise to Cactus State Utility Operating Company, LLC.
Second.
All right, Mr. Cray, you want to briefly describe the motion or the item? I'm sorry, the agenda item?
Sure. This is a water company in the Tombstone area. They've filed an application, paid their fee, submitted a description of the area that they serve, and this is a revised version of our franchise agreement that has language that we've talked about in work session.
Okay.
All right. Anybody have any discussion on this? None? All right. So I guess we close the public hearing. All right. Public hearing is now closed, and we will now have a vote on agenda item number 6. All those in favor of approving agenda item number 6, granting a water services franchise to Cactus State Utility Operating Company, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 3-0. All right. All right. Next up, we will go to agenda item number 7. Can I get a motion to move agenda item number 7?
I motion that we approve Community Enhancement Fund expenditures for District 2, sponsor 6-episode television series Tombstone in the heart of Cochise County on the Cowboy Channel in the amount of $5,500.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? We have a speaker for agenda item number 7. Mr. Webb, again. Eli Dalton Webb is our speaker.
So 3 minutes?
3 minutes, sir.
So I got a question. Is it really as easy as moving to expend $5,500? I mean, somebody motions, get a second. Now we put up to a vote where we're taking $5,500 from the taxpayers into a private sector business. I mean, I'm not necessarily against, you know, what's going on here. I mean, it sounds good, but, you know, Chairman Antonori is talking about, you know, putting some strains on the courts and putting some strains on some of the government programs, but yet this is going to be expended. I mean, what is the county going to benefit off of expending this money? I mean, what am I going to get out of it? I mean, is it $5,500 that gets expended and then, you know, 100 times return comes into the county? I mean, you know, you create 10 jobs and then it creates 100. I mean, what's the thinking about this other than, you know, government doesn't create wealth. It takes wealth. And I'm just trying to understand, like, how can this be fiscally conservative? And I guess that's it. I don't know if this kind of where I could actually talk with the Board of Supervisors or if this is it. So I guess this is got a minute left. So.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Webb.
I'd like discussion.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Supervisor Gomez, the floor is yours.
To answer your question, Mr. Webb, no, this is not something that I just pull out of the air and decide, okay, let me just spend money. I met with, in great detail with the people who are producing this 6-series episode. They needed one extra sponsor to go forward with it. This is the Cowboy Channel and goes on the Rural American Channel, which goes into 100 million homes. So ARS 42-17101 requires the county to prepare a schedule of estimated expenditures and revenues each year in their annual budget. This annual budget may include community enhancement funds for each supervisor's district for specific purposes. So this is a strategic investment, not a subsidy. This is not just spending, it's seeding economic growth that will multiply our tax base without raising taxes. Tourism increases sales tax revenue, local business income, and property values, which directly benefits the community and reduces the need for future taxes or cuts. This uses existing resources designated specifically for community investment. Every $1 invested in tourism marketing often returns $5 to $10 in local spending. Local businesses, hotels, restaurants, shops benefit directly, keeping dollars circulating in the community. Even libertarians support market-based outcomes, and that's how, and especially when it comes to tourism. So it spurs entrepreneurship, attracts private sector investment, increases self-reliance for our community. It's not about giving away money. It's about making a smart, targeted investment that generates local jobs, supports small businesses, and brings in out-of-town dollars, all without raising a single cent in taxes. That's a kind of fiscal responsibility I believe we can all get behind. So that being said, that's all I have.
I'm going to add, during our budget discussion, our work session, that we've also recommended a 50 to 60% cut from the supervisor's budget regarding community enhancement funds. So we're actually reducing spending in this category, but we're leaving sufficient revenues in there for individual supervisors at their discretion to, if there's still a project or an investment within their district that they think is worthwhile, they have the opportunity to provide resources to execute that project, or in this case, which Ms. Gomez is doing, is promoting Tombstone nationally to a national audience. So
yeah, I also like to, 100 million homes is quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I think that that is a better rate of investment, return of investment, than the $34,000 we give to the tourism board in Cochise County.
Any discussion, Mr. Crosby?
Sure. While those tourists are visiting Tombstone, I would like them to also go visit Karchner Caverns and many other places in a beautiful county.
And I think that that's my next thing I'm going to ask. I've asked these people who produce this to go to Slaughter's Ranch, to go to Camp Naco, things that are, you know, really historical and a great value to our tourism that just aren't being promoted right now.
I would add the Buffalo Soldier Museum.
Right.
Oh,
Speaking of Camp Naco.
Right.
All right. All right. So, and that is it for agenda item number 7. Any further discussion?
Sure.
None. All right. Motion's on the floor. All those in favor of approving the community enhancement funds, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. All right. Next up, we have agenda item number 8. Can I get a motion, please?
Mr. Chair, I move we appoint Melissa Avant to the position of Elections Director effective May 27th, 2025.
All right. I second it. All right. So let's go to Ms. Gilman for an explanation or introduction, whichever she preferred.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the board. The Elections Director position was opened and advertised for recruitment from March 3rd to March 31st, 2025. The applications were reviewed after the closing date by myself, Deputy County Administrator Joe Casey, and the Human Resources Director Jennifer Graham. We selected 3 finalists and conducted interviews with myself, Mr. Casey, Jennifer Graham, and current Interim Director Marty Renteria. Following those interviews, we had we identified Ms. Avant as a candidate to move forward, to have one-on-one interviews with each board member to further vet this candidate. Following that discussion and feedback from individual board members with myself, I made the recommendation to appoint Miss Avant as elections director. She comes to us with 17 years in this community. She is well aware of the challenges that the elections department has faced in the past, and she is eager to provide her leadership in this position and provide service to the county. She is very civic minded, and I think she will be an asset to the county.
All right. Any discussion among supervisors before I go to the speakers?
I have extensive comments, but you can
You want to go to the speakers first?
yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. So first speaker up is Mr. Eli Dalton Webb, the prolific speaker of the day. Mr. Webb, you have 3 minutes.
All right. I just wanted to say I'm one of the county chairman of one of the parties here. You know, nobody had let me know that this was happening. So it shows that the Board of Supervisors is not getting community input on this issue here. I try to stay out of election politics, you know, win the ballots and the machines, but I just, you know, the other thing that I've noticed is there tends to kind of be a problem where the elections department goes on vacation sporadically. So when you want to go file something or you want to call into the office, you don't know if they're on vacation or not. I mean, they work hard, you know, a couple of weeks after the election, they probably want to have a vacation time. So I would kind of like to know if Miss Avant, you know, some new things I'd like to see is, you know, maybe letting us know when she's going to go on vacation so that we could know when to file things, you know. And the other thing that's kind of been an issue with the elections department is there's certain individuals who have, you know, refused, of course, this is just kind of rumors, but who have refused to give stamped copies back or receipts. So when you go file something, you can't get proof that you filed it. I'm not accusing anyone in particular. Yeah, just, you know, there's been a particular individual in the department that has been discourteous. So, you know, I'd like to know these things. I'm not accusing Miss Avant of any of that. The other thing is I saw in the resume, I don't know if there was necessarily, I did a quick look at the resume. There didn't seem to be election law experience. I mean, you can always get it, but, you know, Marty has been great in the elections department. Yeah, I guess that's all my comments for that.
All right. I'm gonna add just real quick. So, Mr. Webb, just so you're aware, it was posted, as Ms. Gilman said, for a month. It was also covered, I believe, no less than twice in the Sierra Vista Herald. I think Terry Jo did an extensive story on it. So it was publicized that the county was searching for an elections director. I don't think it was any secret. I mean, I got several phone calls from people with recommendations and whatnot. So evidently they were made aware somehow that it was out there. We're trying to be transparent. There was nothing sneaky about it. I mean, it was done by the book. County staff did extensive interviews of potential candidates. We had a couple potential folks, some of which even after being offered the position backed out. So, I mean, it's just a unique scenario, but we came down to the candidate that was best qualified based on the recommendations from the staff. So it was out there in the public. So I didn't know. Anybody else want to?
Yeah, I would add that if you go on to and join the Cochise County Facebook page or go onto the website every day, all the announcements are there for everything. So that's the way to keep, you know, in touch with what's happening. Jane does a really good job of putting all the issues out there, when we're going to have meetings, what is coming up. So I would suggest you could do that and be really well informed.
All right. I'd like a statement from Miss Avant, if that's possible.
Sure. Yeah, hang on. So we'll, thanks, Mr. Webb. All right. So next up we have, Miss Allison Morse from, she should be on Microsoft Teams. Miss Morse, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me again?
Yep, we got you. 3 minutes.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Hello again, supervisors, and thank you for another opportunity to speak today. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Allison Morse, and I'm a registered voter from Portal. As you know, Cochise County has experienced a high turnover of election directors since the departure of Lisa Mara in early February of 2023, due to what she described as a toxic and threatening work environment. After Ms. Mara left, the board appointed David Stevens, who later hired Bob Bartlesmeyer. Mr. Bartlesmeyer resigned after just a few months. The position was filled by Mr. Tim Maddox, who lasted several months before Ms. Marisol Renteria assumed the position. In less than 2.5 years, excuse me, we've had 5 election directors. If you appoint Ms. Melissa Avant, she will be number 6. This rate of turnover is most unusual and exceptionally challenging for our elections department. The responsibilities of an election director are demanding and require an impeccable attention to detail. It is not a political position, and strict adherence to Arizona statutes and the Elections Procedure Manual is expected. If the board approves Ms. Avant's appointment, I trust that she will respect the rule of law in its entirety and that you supervisors will do everything legally possible to support her. With the special primary election coming up in just a few weeks, Ms. Avant will have a daunting learning curve in a very short period of time. It is my hope that she will avail herself of all available resources to assist her, including the Secretary of State's office. I ask that you make every effort to ensure the election, this coming election and those in the future, all go smoothly and lawfully, and respond immediately and constructively to issues that may come up for her. Thank you for your time.
I have a
Yep.
discussion. I don't believe that toxic environment exists anymore. Also, Marty has been very gracious in saying that she will stick around to help Ms. Avant through this special election that impacts Naco, Purteville, Douglas, and Bisbee. So I have full faith that with Marty helping out, that she's going to be given the support that she needs to have actually kind of it's pretty great, I think, situation in which that she can get her feet wet with a very small election, special election that's going to happen. So I have full faith that Melissa will be able to do her job, and I thank Marty for sticking around. And we understand that Marty wants to go back to what she loves best, which is being in technology. That's all I have to say. Thanks.
Mr. Chair, a point of information for you.
Yes, ma'am.
I would also add that if the board approves Ms. Avant today, she is already registered. We have already registered for the Secretary of State's Election Certification Officer Training, which is June 2nd through the 6th. So she will become a certified election officer, passing that test in time for the primary election and future elections.
All right. So we have one more person that requests to speak. And that's Mr. Paul Rice, and I believe he's on Microsoft Teams. Mr. Rice, are you online?
Good morning, supervisors. Can you hear me?
Yes, we have you.
Okay, good. Thank you. My name is Paul Rice. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. On November 18th, 2022, information was shared with the Cochise County Board of Supervisors and the public regarding the non-certification of your ES&S electronic voting machines. Evidence was presented at this meeting showing SLI Compliance, the entity responsible for ensuring your voting machines meet NIST and EAC requirements, was not lawfully accredited to do so. Supervisor Crosby also stated in that meeting, and I'll quote from the transcription, "What information did you request from the Secretary of State that was not provided? You talked about like a 3-month lag. What would obtaining that information have to do with our action item number 1 today, which is accepting the election results?" And then I would have asked Mr. Rice, would the county elections director be more likely to obtain the critical information? That was a question. And we'll look into that, hopefully, if Ms. Mara is able to obtain the information that Mr. Rice was not able to. So what other information was Supervisor Crosby referring to? I will address that now. On 8/17 of 2022, I submitted a formal public records request to the Secretary of State to disclose all voting machine modifications proposed by ES&S and adopted by the SOS, Secretary of State, from January of 2019 through August of 2022. These modifications, referred to as engineering change orders, are software and hardware updates developed and recommended by ES&S for deployment in the counties. I also asked to see the EAC's certification letters as required under law. That request has gone unanswered. November 21st of 22, as a follow-up request to my request, Supervisor Crosby submitted a letter of inquiry to the Secretary of State. On February 22nd, 2023, I provided an affidavit to the county that my request for information remained unanswered. And on September 2nd of 23, over a year after the original request, I resubmitted my request to the Secretary of State with no response to this day. 4/29 of 25, I submitted a new public records request with Secretary of State for the same information. Their response, check with the EAC. That's the Elections Assistance Commission. However, the EAC does not maintain records of state-to-state adoption. That's the responsibility of the SOS and the counties. Nonetheless, I submitted a FOIA request with the EAC a few weeks ago. On May 7th of 25, I requested the same information from the Cochise County Elections Department. The response of your county attorney's office was, quote, there are no records in response to your records request. So what is going on here? First, this board may want to read your ES&S contract regarding the county's responsibilities to that contract. Second, this county is considering the purchase of more voting machines at a cost of over $300,000, yet no one can confirm what updates have been deployed on your existing machines over the past 6 years, nor if any of these updates have been lawfully approved. And third, as you consider the appointment of a new elections director, I might suggest you make it clear to that candidate, whoever it is, that they understand this position reports to the board and that the delegation will be important if you wish to get to the bottom.
Mr. Rice, your 3 minutes are up. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for your comments. All right, next up, that's all for our request to speak. We're going to do closing comments. Mr. Crosby, do you have any?
Yes, indeed. I do have extensive comments, and I'll have some extensive questions. I would like to start with a video if Ms. Lowenheim has.
I'm sorry, we need a subscription to view that video.
Okay, then I'll just talk about the video, which is a video with the new weaponization czar, Ed Martin, interviewed by Tucker Carlson. Mr. Martin ran the election board in St. Louis. He was rejected by the Uniparty Judiciary Committee, preventing him from being the U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C. Quoting Martin, much, much worse than we think. Really problematic, the certification of the systems, meaning voting system test labs. Furthermore, EAC controls hundreds of millions of dollars worth of decisions on who is going to make money out of these voting machines. And I also asked Ms. Lowenheim to make my widely distributed letter from the former Secretary of State, now Governor Katie Hobbs, and Corey Lorick part of today's record, and I presume that is. And that's been distributed, like I said, widely, including Ms. Avant today. Quoting my letter from November 21st, 2022, I was trying to avoid lawsuits. I was trying to get some way to avoid the issue which we are left with now, which is the accreditation of the laboratories responsible for voting machine certification. So I am going to read part of Title 52 and other comments about Title 52, which I believe was misapplied, yes, misapplied by the Secretary of State in 2022. On 11/21/22, Secretary of State provided a letter from the EAC asserting certification was in place according to Title 52 U.S. Code, Section 0971. Unfortunately, the EAC intentionally misapplies the statute. A full review of all Title 52 U.S. Code Section 20971 reveals the clear intent of this language is to define the circumstances under which the Commission may revoke an existing accreditation that falls within the 2-year active accreditation period. Okay, it is not that the accreditation goes on indefinitely. But that's what they're trying to say in 2022 and probably will continue to say so. So continuing with my letter that I wrote to the Secretary of State and Elections Director, the VSTL must be lawfully accredited at the time the machine certification is granted. A company that is not accredited at the time the certificate is issued makes that certificate null and void. To conclude my remarks about Mr. Martin, the weaponization czar, it appears from these short comments that he is saying exactly what I was saying 2.5 years ago. He said, let's take a look. And when he, quote, gets to the bottom of it, he will find that all is as I have said the whole time. In light of my indictment and continued lawfare against me, I may not look like the one to follow Ms. Avant. It might amaze many that Crosby was right and everybody to the contrary was wrong or trying to cover up that about which weaponization czar Mr. Martin appears to be agreeing with me after 2.5 years. So, Ms. Avant, if you'd care to approach the podium, I do have some more questions for you. And for anybody who's interested, I did give Ms. Avant copies of the questions that I was going to give her yesterday. And they're going to be hard questions, and nobody's going to get the impression that you are walking into an easy job. That is for sure. Okay, so if appointed, Ms. Avant, who are you going to work for?
Chairman Antonari, members of the board, and the county administration and public, thank you so much for allowing me to be here today to stand in front of you for this appointment. It's an honor and privilege to do so. So in terms of your question, Vice Chairman Crosby, I work for the Board of Supervisors under the direct supervision of the county administration, who oversees the implementation of the board's policies and procedures.
Thank you very much. Are you going to be insubordinate if the county administrator, the county attorney, the governor, the secretary of state, or the attorney general tells you that the majority vote of the board of supervisors is giving you an illegal order?
So as the elections director, I am obligated to follow all lawful directives of the board of supervisors. If a majority vote of the board results in an order that is unlawful, violates election statutes, or compromises the integrity of the election process, I have a professional and legal duty to work with the Board of Supervisors and county administration to seek alternative solutions.
Okay, a little more on that. I wrote, the fallback answer might be, I will perform the tasks according to the law and follow lawful orders, which is just about exactly what you say. So let's look at this quote from the Attorney General Mays, which has what I've warned my colleagues about, anthropomorphism. And this is from Fox 10 News in March 8, 2023. Arizona AG Mays sues to stop Cochise County election switch. And this is just the first sentence, I believe. Well, counties may, this is a quote from Ms. Mays, the current Attorney General. While counties may appropriately enter into a cooperative agreements with their recorders to manage elections, Cochise County's agreement steps far over the legal line, Mays said in a news release announcing the lawsuit. So what would you say about the Board of Supervisors' direction versus the Attorney General Mays' opinion, which was expressed at that time?
Thank you for the question. Again, I stand here in front of you today trying to do my best. I look forward to the position. I cannot talk about what happened in 2022. I was not here. My role and responsibility to the residents of this Cochise County is the integrity of the election process, and I tend to do that very well if appointed today.
Okay. Well, I would note that even though Ms. Mays said that Cochise County's agreement steps far over the legal line, the county beat her in court. So to determine what is legal or not is not always very easy. Okay? So in light of that, if the Attorney General tells you the majority vote of the Board of Supervisors is giving you an illegal order, will you be insubordinate to the Board of Supervisors?
Insubordination does not resonate with me in my professional career. I worked at the county for over 6 years and I worked for the state of Arizona for 17 years, sir. I will do my best of my ability not to do anything that violates the Board of Supervisors in any way and the county administration as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait, I might not be done. I don't know. Here's the anthropomorphism that I've talked to my colleagues about. It seems the inanimate object agreement has the ability to step over legal lines. So was it illegal? Like I said, we beat her in court. Here's the quote. This agreement steps far over the legal line. And that's just another one of the anthropomorphisms, which I believe ought to be a red flag or neon light or something like that. When you see that, take a closer look and figure out, what is this person really saying? Are they saying what they pretend to say? Okay, so that is all, Ms. Avant. Thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you very much.
And as I mentioned, I did give her those questions prior to today. I gave them to her yesterday, so she wasn't completely unprepared.
Good.
No further comments at
Okay,
this time.
all right. Ms. Gomez, do you have any comments?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
I'm gonna close with some final comments. So I got to speak for some time with Ms. Avant. We've also interviewed her before when we were looking at the county recorder appointment. So we've gotten to know her over the last couple months. No one can predict the future, which is why I like to be proactive rather than reactive, which has been, unfortunately, the modus operandi up until now. So and during my discussion with Ms. Avant, she understands the challenges that she is walking into. She understands that the current administration in Phoenix, specifically the Attorney General, has basically declared war on Cochise County. We are, in my opinion, currently winning that war, as we saw by another ruling yesterday that came down that her case against the quote-unquote fake electors has been basically kicked to the curb again and going to be re-reviewed. So she's not really doing a good job of batting with cases dealing with Cochise County. What Ms. Avant told me is that she's going to follow the law, which I appreciate. She's also going to follow the guidance of the Board of Supervisors and the county administrator and the county attorney's office, and if necessary, outside counsel. So the way that I would sort of approach some of the questions that you just asked her was, if she receives guidance from the board through the county administrator, she will execute that guidance. If she faces a conflict, and I assume she will, it is going to happen, that the Secretary of State disagrees with that guidance, her guidance will be to immediately come to the board to seek or to the county administrator to seek further guidance, and we will work with the county attorney's office or outside counsel, as we have already retained, to engage in resolution of that dispute through the court system. I do not want to put it on the shoulders of Ms. Avant to carry that. As we've all said before, none of us here, and I know Mr. Crosby appreciates this, wants to get into a situation where we could end up expending a lot of our own personal money in a battle against a government that has unlimited resources, as we've seen with the Attorney General's office. But we will do our best to fight this properly through the civil process in court, and we are not going to basically go off and expose ourselves to potential legal problems that could end us all, including Ms. Avant, who I know she doesn't want to, nor does Ms. Gomez, end up in jail over something that we could proactively fight prior to that in the civil court. So, and again, when I spoke to Ms. Avant, she understands that she is stepping into a position that is also facing a lot of public scrutiny and is going to require a lot of transparency. And she promised me that she is going to be as transparent as possible. She also understands that it is a very nonpartisan position that she is in, and she has to administer the office of the Elections Department as equally and as fairly as humanly possible, which she has committed to me that she will do. Ms. Renneria is going to be assisting her in the transition into that office, thankfully. Thank you, Marty, for helping with that transition, which I hope to be a smooth transition. And then upon that completion of which will be, I guess, the test case, which will be the special election, Ms. Amont will take over the reins and she will bring in the necessary people as she sees fit to run that office. And I know we've all committed to supporting her with the resources to execute that job as best she can. And I have full confidence based on her background that she will be able to do so. And I also told her if she does run astray, that she is subject to being fired by the board through the county administrator if we have a conflict. And I had said before, if I was here when Ms. Maher was here, I would have fired her for insubordination probably a lot sooner than the previous board would have. And so that she's aware of that and she understands that, but she is committed to working with us and the county administrator to make sure that she does not run into that conflict and that we can resolve that by whatever means, whether it's through an open meeting, work session, or through the courts with the county attorney to resolve those issues so she doesn't have to bear that burden, and we'll get that issue resolved. So with that, I have no other comments. You got one, Ms.
Yeah,
Thomas?
I wanted to reiterate what the chairman said in my conversations with Melissa. I know she's stepping into a very controversial role with a lot of people who are kind of just ready on both sides to find fault. And I really do honestly want to assure people this is not a toxic environment. We're all working very well together. We actually talked I talked to Melissa extensively too, and I've known her from her previous job when I was working at the hospital. So I've known her for a very long time. I respect her, and I know she's going to do the right thing, and so are we. So as far as any kind of this toxic environment, let's just lay that to rest. It's in the past. It's not in the present. It's not going to be in the future. I think the county and all those who are waiting for us to misstep or get out of line are going to find that they're going to have to look really, really hard to find that because we're going to be transparent. Melissa's going to be transparent, and we're going to work well together. So that's all I have to say.
Any additional comments?
No.
No? All right, none. All right, hearing none, the motion before you is to approve the appointment of Ms. Avant. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries 3-0. Ms. Avant, welcome to Cochise County. Good luck. It will be an exciting next couple years, I'm sure, as we get through the 2026 election. All right. Next up, we have agenda item number 9. Can I get a motion to move agenda item number 9?
Please see it.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve intergovernmental agreement IGA between Cochise County and the City of Douglas for the acquisition of right-of-way for the Kings Highway right-of-way project in support of future commercial land port of entry west of Douglas.
Second.
All right, we have a motion before us. Ms. Watkins, are you here to explain it?
He was unable to attend, so I'll provide some information for
Go
the
ahead,
board.
Ms. Gelman.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, the purpose of this IGA is for the City of Douglas and Cochise County to work together to acquire right-of-way from Kings Highway east to James Ranch Road. Sorry, my finger keeps moving off the button here. This will help the city in establishing a future connector road from Kings Highway to James Ranch, as well as more importantly, the utility corridor for the future port of entry. So this is in county jurisdiction, so the county would be acquiring the right-of-way and providing zoning regulation changes as necessary if that right-of-way can be donated. And then the city would be able to utilize that acquisition for the utilities.
Any discussion?
Know just how important this is to Douglas and to Cochise County as far as economic development. And, You know, when I was at a meeting with Nogales and Yuma is extending from 6 to 18, no, was it 12 to 18 or something like that, lanes. And this is where we're just trying to fight for 2 lanes going each way. But there's a lot of support in Sonora that we'd be bringing a lot of mineral from the mines, a lot of their products and cattle. So this is really crucial. And we're at a precipice where this whole port of entry, we need to really, the whole county needs to really fight for it and get our ducks in a row, because this is it. If this doesn't happen now, it's never going to happen. So thank you.
All right. Without further discussion, we have a motion on the floor to approve agenda item number 9. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. All right. State and federal legislation. So as I'll do this one here real quick. Again, I've spoken with our state representatives. The prediction now is this budget impasse with the governor will go to June 30th and possibly scarily beyond, which is going to impact our budget building process. As you guys know, once we establish that baseline, we can't go up. We could only go down. So we'll have to have that discussion over the next couple of weeks to make sure we leave margin in there to adapt based on what comes out of Phoenix. But it does not look like we will see a budget anytime soon out of that. At the federal level, as we all know, the big, beautiful bill is going through. It was just pushed out of the House. That has significant reductions in spending, specifically in Health and Human Services, Medicaid, and Medicare services as well. A lot of it is rolling back the Obamacare expansion that occurred, and which I despised and fought tooth and nail as best I could when I was in the legislature. I think it was an error to expand those benefits, and it's now going to require able-bodied, which I think is a great policy, able-bodied adults of working age to work to offset some of the cost of their benefits that they're receiving, which I think is a step in the right direction. Also, there are several bills going through the legislature that affect the county, Cochise County, because I sit on the County Supervisors Association Legislative Committee, and I've also, we had the small counties meeting last week. We are, to be blankety, we're opposing most of it. Because most of those put additional cost on the local taxpayers. The state is juggling different estimates of what the surplus or lack of a surplus is going to be. JLBC is constantly revising those numbers now. They're hearing that they may not have a budget surplus at the state level. It may be close to zero or much smaller than they anticipated. So there may be a desire to shift more costs to local government so that the state legislature doesn't have to reduce spending or make cuts, or the governor, for that matter, doesn't want to accept and sign a budget that has additional cuts at the state level. So we are going to continue to monitor that as the budget process goes through. So with that, that's all I have regarding state and federal legislation. Any?
I just have a question. When I was up at the Eastern Arizona County Association meeting, they were talking about $100 million deficit. Is that correct?
Right. So that's what I'm getting. So speaking with Senator Gallen, JLBC just revised their economic projections. However, during that discussion, those economic projections were based on the markets prior to the change in the market and interest rate that just recently occurred. So it was based on the previous quarter's economic situation, which, again, as we saw, especially you guys have 401ks or have stocks, the market was declining rapidly during that quarter. So JLBC revised the economic outlook based on those market trends and also the job growth rate that was occurring in Arizona at the time. That has since changed, and now it is coming up in the other direction. And I think both the governor and the legislature is waiting to see what JLBC which is the Joint Legislative Budget Committee, they're the money guys, will predict the economic growth and the future revenue in 2026 will be for the state of Arizona, which is why I'm saying that depending on what time of day and who you talk to, whether there's a surplus or a deficit, those numbers are changing. And that is mainly because of the volatility of the market and, of course, what's happening in Washington. We've seen recently with the trade deals, the market changed dramatically, and now it's almost fully recovered all losses since January. So the economic outlook for the country is looking better. And, of course, if this bill, this great big beautiful bill passes and gets signed by the president, that will also have a significant economic output, and they're trying to get that bill passed by Memorial Day. If that passes by Memorial Day, the markets will react in June, and I think that will have a significant impact on what the legislature and the governor does with regard to that budget. Again, we will probably not see a budget before June 30th. They are going to take it down to the wire, and they may miss it because of the impasse that they're having. So they may go into July and August. I have done that. The first year I was in the legislature, we could not come to an agreement with the government, and we had to do continuing resolutions all the way until October. So it is possible that this could go much longer if you have a disagreement between the legislature and the governor, which currently there is. So we will end up having to fund our agencies based on last year's allotment, which is something we'll also have to consider. So, but I'm hoping they can get this done at 11:59 on June 30th at the latest, which will make our life easier. But if not, we'll have to have some discussions with regard to contingencies if that occurs. But that's where the surplus is constantly fluctuating because JLBC is only going off of data that has occurred in the past, and that's the previous quarter. So as this new quarter closes, we will probably see a change in their projections. So we're hoping there is a surplus so that they can allocate that appropriately and not impact us by shifting the costs to the counties. But we shall see, as they say. Any other comments? None?
I'll wait till my current event time.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's where we're at now. Ms. Gilman, do you have any comments to add before we get to current events?
Just to add on to some of the potential budget challenges in the future, I was on a County Managers Association meeting a week ago, and we received a briefing regarding changes that the PSPRS board is considering regarding the payroll contribution actuarial analysis calculation. It won't affect us this year, but it's possible the PSPRS board could raise our payroll contribution by several points, and that would, their justification or reasoning behind that is related to payroll growth in law enforcement salaries across the state, and the actuarial analysis that employers should be contributing more in order to fund the retirement system.
Did they say that was because of the practice of pension spiking still occurring, or is that, did they have another reason why?
I think they are seeing with the fast pace of salary increases overall in law enforcement
For decades.
For decades.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, in Cochise County this year, our PSPRS contribution went down 1.9%. Perhaps that's because our salaries have not increased as fast as other areas of the state.
But we're talking about the tier one almost exclusively.
A lot of those guys are facing retirement here in the next couple of years too.
Yeah, it's the payroll across all tiers.
Yeah.
Our employer contribution.
I mean, there's still a lot of overtime in the final few years that is occurring, which the legislature tried to address, but was beat back through opposition, and that continues to be a problem. If it was based on just the salary, like me, I'm retired military, I was making a lot more on active duty beyond my base pay because I got all these special pays for jumping out of airplanes and playing with explosives and doing other stuff. But when I retired, my retirement was based on my base pay. There was no escalation of that. However, with our pension system, it is the high 3 years, and there's a practice that people work overtime to bump up that salary well above their base pay for those final 3 years, and then that's what's used to calculate the pension. And that's been an issue and a challenge with the state pension system. And it's not going to be addressed anytime soon, unfortunately, but it needs to be. It needs to be addressed. So anyways, any other comments before we move on to current events?
No, that's all I had to.
All right. So now we're to the current events. We'll go to District 1.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is from Channel 3 in Phoenix yesterday. Democrat Arizona AG Chris May's alternate Trump electors case in jeopardy after judge finds prosecutors, that's the Attorney General's prosecutors, made giant mistake. Democrat Arizona Attorney General Chris May's alternate Trump electors case is on life support after a judge found that prosecutors failed to inform grand jurors about the law that was central to the state's case. Trump attorney Christina Bobb reacted to the judge's order and said the case should be dismissed entirely. Quoting her, "My 9 felony indictments in Arizona have just been remanded to the grand jury. The judge found that the state failed to properly instruct the grand jury. And I believe that's on purpose. The case is partisan politics at its worst and must be dismissed completely." During a hearing last year, Maricopa County Superior Court Judge Bruce Cohen said he was open to listening to the defendant's arguments to have the indictment thrown out under Arizona's anti-SLAPP law, which was recently expanded by the legislature to cover vindictive, politically motivated charges. In my opinion, that anti-SLAPP definition fits the lawfare against me: vindictive, politically motivated charges. But I pray for Ms. Mays. In February, Maricopa County Judge Sam Myers said the defendants successfully argued that the charges against them seemed to have violated the state's anti-SLAPP statute. The Attorney General's prosecutors failed to provide the grand jury with the text of an 1887 federal law that is central to the Republicans' defense. The law, known as the Electoral Count Act, spells out how presidential electoral votes are to be cast and counted. That concludes my remarks. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, District 2.
I just attended a meeting of the Port of Entry, so Nogales, Yuma, and Douglas, at a congressional briefing where all the congressional offices were present, their executive directors. And one thing I found really clear is we are really behind the ball as a county in supporting this Port of Entry. Douglas doesn't have a Port of Authority board. We don't have a list of stakeholders on both sides that are supporting this. So there's one phase, right? There's Douglas and there's the county. So in my talks previously, it was mentioned, well, somebody needs to do something about a master plan. Well, I tend to do that. And I'd like in probably maybe July or August to have a work session on how the county can develop a master plan for economic development going up, dealing with the infrastructure, getting the money for this connector road, dealing with 191, looking how we can incorporate BDI. And in the meeting that the mayor of Douglas had with about 9 mayors from cities in Sonora, Hermosillo, Cananea, Agua Prieta, and the like, and Guaymas. And so when they mentioned that the supervisors were interested in bringing back rail, Guaymas went crazy. They were so excited that we are on this side thinking of trying to bring rail back going up 191 that it generated a lot of enthusiasm. So I think this is a perfect time for the county to really develop a master plan, because this Port of Entry is not just going to help Douglas. It's going to help all of the county, whether it's cattle or minerals or whatever else. I mean, we just have an opportunity to bring a lot of money into this county so that we don't have to go for enhancement funds to help the community because they're so poor that they can't do things to bring economic development. So I would like, Sharon, if you can look at that, of having a work session in which we devise a county master plan for the Port of Entry. And that's really my takeaway, is that we just have not done a good job, as Nogales is getting about $600 million from different sources in the government for wastewater treatment and how to update some of their technology in their ports. Yuma is going to be going from 8 to 16 or well, whatever they were capacity to 16 lanes. So they're receiving about $653 million, and we're fighting over $20 million to get a road that connects a new port. That's a $450 million building with 80. So you can see that we're just not been as forward-looking and as proactive as we need to be. So that's my comments. Thank you. Oh, one more thing, county roads. So I don't know if this is a time to talk about in public, having a work session on the condition of county roads. It's a big deal in District 2. I'm sure it is in your District 2, Chairman. So we definitely need to do that probably in June so that the public can come in, we'll have specific guidelines, but I'm constantly hearing from these guys, I mean, they can't even, the roads are just, some of them, they're not passable. So that's something that we really have to start focusing on too. That's it.
Oh, Mr. Crosby, you want to?
Yes, sir.
Mulligan?
I have a port of entry master plan in a spiral notebook about that thick, which I will give to my colleague, Ms. Gomez. And I can't wait to drive by Target and Walmart today and enjoy that smooth road. I've been waiting on it for a long time. That concludes my remarks.
I don't have anything to add. So with that, we'll announce that the next meeting is going to be this afternoon at 12:30. It will be the Jail District Board of Directors work session. Got a lot going on in the Jail District this afternoon. We have our briefing from Chin as well, and we will also have discussions on expenses and revenue projections for 2025 and 26, which is related to other things that are coming. Oh, I forgot to mention that we may have an answer soon from our Apache County Superior Court judge on our case. So hopefully we'll find out more about that in the next week or so. But with that, we'll see everybody at 12:30. We are adjourned.